Right now, members of the Trump administration or surrogates from the Trump administration are trying to make the case publicly that the reason why the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics was fired was because she was doing a bad job. Do not believe them. I have receipts. Shout out to the National Review for resurfacing this. But the Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, he was one of the first cabinet agency leads approved by the Senate when Trump was returned to office in February of this year. So, I mean, like right after he started the job, one of the first things he did was dissolve a statistical task force working group that was trying to improve survey quality and survey data. Now, there is no way you have heard of the Federal Economic Statistical Advisory Committee, or FESAC. I called it FESIC, just as a shout out to Princess Bride. But what FESIC did was bring together experts who didn't work for the government, who were experts in surveys, who were not paid for their time, trouble, or advice, and put them into an advisory capacity over the BLS and census to help them improve data quality, right? Bringing in people from the outside to give them ideas and strategies and policies to improve things like survey response times and survey response rates so that the data wouldn't have to go through so many statistical revisions. Disbanded in February. Now, if you're wondering why didn't I hear about this then, it's just because it wasn't part of the big part of the news cycle. Claudia Sahm, a fellow Bloomberg opinion writer and fellow economist, she wrote about this at the time, and she said this is how the war on statistics will begin, very quietly, with the dissolution of a committee that signals from the beginning they do not want data that they don't agree with. There's no other reason to dissolve an unpaid committee. It doesn't save the government much money. It doesn't. I think they got like money for travel when they came in for a meeting, but it's not like they were paid, $10,000 an hour for their opinion. I mean, these were unpaid people who were just doing a volunteer service for the federal government, and they were dissolved. They fired the outside watchdog. That tells you how much they value data. I pointed out recently that that's just one attack on the statistical agencies. The other is coming from a broader movement of the Trump administration to remove civil service protection. Basically, everyone who works at the BLS is a civil servant. They were hired meritocratically, paid based on their skills, experience, and tenure, and they are protected from firing for political retaliation. Now, the commissioner, she's a political appointee. She doesn't have this protection, but almost everyone who works for her does. That might not be true much longer because Trump is actively trying to remove these types of civil service protections by changing how civil servants are protected in the case of firing. He basically wants to make it easier for him to fire anybody at the BLS who he disagrees with, not just the commissioner. This is just the start. And to be fair, they've been putting up the case that the statistics are wrong for political reasons for a while now. I wrote this back during the campaign attacking Marco Rubio because when the jobs report was good, he said these are fake numbers. And he absolutely knows that that's a lie. Absolutely knows that that's a lie. They're building the case that numbers that are revised are politically manipulated. They planted that seed a year ago. So, when they're out there on the news and you hear people from the Trump administration say this is just about data quality, don't buy it. They have absolutely no commitment to data quality. They've been undermining data collection, data quality, and trust in data from the start. We know that they've done it. Now, it might not have been a news story at the time, the way that the first person to fire the commissioner of the BLS is a news story now, but this has been brewing for a while. This is not an about face. This is not an abrupt turn. This is a calculated attack carried out on multiple fronts, and in some ways, Trump just made it more obvious, but he didn't change direction of the administration.